Welcome to Gethsemane Cemetery. I'm here with Arnold Brown, Dr. Arnold Brown actually, who is well known for his knowledge on this cemetery and for many other historic stories of Bergen County. We're here today to talk to you about this wonderful place. And we're going to take a little tour of it, and I'm going to tell you, through Arnold, some things about the tombstones and the signage. Bergen County owns this as one of our 9 historic sites. We're stopping here by the first of our historic signs, and let me introduce you to Dr. Brown.
The county in its restoration has provided 8 informational panels in the cemetery. Panels will tell you a little story about each portion of the history of the cemetery, from its beginning in 1860 down to today's date. The first burial here in Cornelius Smith, that was the first burial. The last one was in 1924 here at the cemetery. There was a farmer by the name of John Johnson who had a daughter by the name of Elizabeth. And he only had one child. And when he died, his married daughter, Jefferson, took over his property. And when she drew her will, she asked that a granite obelisk be placed in the cemetery with the name of her sisters. And her name is Jefferson, but unfortunately, when they put her name on the stone, it was spelled with a G, Jefferson, instead. And on each side, one is Jane Jefferson, the other is Elizabeth Jefferson, and the other Margaret Jefferson, and Mary. Of the 7 men from Bergen County, African-American men, who served in the Civil War, this is the tombstone for Robinson, who served in the Navy during that war. Now, we are coming to the stone, the headstone, for Elizabeth Dolphin. It is a red sandstone. It has a little piece on top of it, a bird that has been worn off at the very top. She was very influential in the community and a very successful businesswoman. There's a stone over here that's a very unusual marker. And this is a stone of the first person that is documented to be buried here. And as you can see, it's a very unique stone. The name is very hard to see, but Cora is buried at this location. There is the remains of a headstone that shows that the cemetery went all the way to the end. The Porter family are buried here. They came from Delaware first and then to New Jersey. They brought with them an African burial custom. You could see from the panel, the deceased, instead of a regular headstone, had terracotta pipes in the ground so that the deceased could communicate with the upper world. And this was a burial custom brought to us from West Africa. Samuel Porter, who lived here in Hackensack, was in a catering business, and catering in those days required taking garbage as well as ashes, because that's how they got heat in those days. They burned wood, they burned whatever they could to get heat. So he would go around and remove ashes and dump them in South Hackensack and Lodi. And what did that mean? He owned the land, and as he filled the land in, he began to sell lots to people. It was mostly Italian immigrants that had moved from New York into New Jersey. And he became a very successful entrepreneur. The cemetery elevation increases. That's why we believe that the entrance was from the west towards the east. This headstone, that's Harry Jones, who is buried. Difficult to see the year on it because it's been weathered, but you can see how it has been restored. It was broken in 2 parts and you can see the seam where it was joined together. This headstone, you can see that it's buried. The land or the dirt or the soil has come up, so if you remove it, you get down to where it is. It would appear that it's another foot before you get to the bottom of the informational part of the stone. TC is marked here as a footing. It's pointed west, but the head of it goes this way. So that means that the grave is actually this location. And this is in all probability, Private Thomas Cisco is buried here. The headstone is definitely missing, but this is the footing of the grave site. Redstone pillar that was used to tie up the horses when they brought in the hearse with the remains. These panels indicate the name of the deceased, age of the person, the sex of the person, the color of the person. B is for black, C is for color, W is for white. There are 500 plus persons buried here in the cemetery. So that is Gethsemane Cemetery. It's a welcoming place. It's a hallowed ground where African Americans and some Caucasians are buried here. And we relish it, we honor it, and we respect it.